Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Boss Babe Blog Podcast. I'm your host, KeTohn, and today we are here with our special guest, Miriam Jackson. She is the founder of the Queen's Digital Studio, Travel with MJ. She has a new wellness brand listed in our directory. She has so many different brands, MJ's Teas and Custom Designs. So if you are needing custom apparel, stop, let me get through it. If you are needing custom apparel, she over here. If you need custom apparel, if you need travel, if you are wanting to book, if you just need a self-service travel portal or you need a vacation planner, MJ's here to assist you. She wears many hats, and today she's going to be representing the Queen's Digital Studios, where she provides digital products for entrepreneurs, for event planners, for people that just love crossword puzzles and fun things like that. And you'll learn more about her brand as we get into this podcast. My name is KeTohn. I'm the founder of BossBabeBlog.com, and I help with promoting small businesses and putting them in front of the audience that appreciates their work and needs their services. So let's get started. Today we are talking about romance. This will be our last romantic conversation of the season. Well, somewhat. You know, sometimes we have podcast conversations, MJ, where we randomly end up linking it back to something that, you know, we weren't expecting to. Yeah. Sure. So I won't say never. We won't say that. But what I will say is we're going to have a great conversation this evening. I'm dressed up in my Mardi Gras. We got our laissez le bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll, because we're about to have a good time tonight. So if you're joining us from any part of the U.S., any part of the world, feel free to drop in the comments where you're watching us from on YouTube. And what I'm going to do to make it easier for everyone is I'm just going to go ahead and pin our YouTube channel to the actual comments. And in the process of doing that, MJ, did you want to just briefly share what products or service you're going to talk about later on in the podcast?
We're really wanting to talk about getting subscribers to our new website over at the Queen's Digital Studio, because we have recently changed websites, and it would be great to see a lot of people over there. You know, you might be looking for templates, crossword word searches, things like that. So it would be great for you to come and subscribe to the Digital Tribe, so that way you can get first dibs on all of that good stuff. And we do some freebies. Today is actually a freebie day for me, so you might find something on the website that's free. So definitely we're looking to talk about the email list.
We are not opposed to free. We like free. That we do.
Love free.
We do. Free. What I am going to do now is go ahead and drop this link so everybody can come and check us out on YouTube if you're wanting to be a part of the conversation. Because like I said, I can't, like on our last live, I said, I can't really see these comments and let you be a part of the conversation if I'm not watching it on my streamer. So I'm just going to go ahead and get that over with now. And as we go through this conversation, you know, we'll let everybody chime in. If you're watching a replay, though, you're still welcome to chime in, share with us your opinion, your perspective on some of these topics. But tonight's specific topic, I said we were going to be discussing romance. And tonight's specific topic is about relationships. So how can we have a more enriching relationship experience, whether that is dating, boyfriend and girlfriend, whether that is marriage, you know, husband and wife, but basically just want to get tips and insight. So what I want us to do is share our own personal experience on romance so that people can know where we're coming from. And then after we share our own personal experience, feel free to go ahead and give that insight that you have. So how are you feeling? MJ, you want to take it away?
So I've been on the boyfriend-girlfriend side of romance for a while, until I decided to take a break and, you know, focus on me. But in the time that I was out there in the world looking for a guy, it was hard because nobody wanted to be truthful. Somebody always got a hidden agenda somewhere. Why do we have to have hidden agendas? Why? Be real with yourself and don't waste my time.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Be real with me, be real with yourself. Don't waste my time, don't waste your time. If you know you only looking for a certain thing, say that.
Yeah.
Don't let somebody start, you know, developing feelings for you, and then you find yourself in a situation where it might not end too favorably for you. Be real with it. Just be honest. It's not. Is it that hard? That's the question. Is it hard to be honest?
No,
I
it's
don't
not.
think so, but no. I don't know.
It's not hard to be honest when you have integrity and when you're building your character and you have the courage to speak up and say how you feel regardless of what the outcome may be. It's not.
Hmm.
Don't get me wrong, there are certain situations where you might have to just, skittle on through. For example, if you are a woman in dark alley and the guy's like, give me your number, and you say no thanks, and he's like, give it to me. Okay, if you're a little nervous, 800, leave me alone, or whatever number you want to give him at that moment, and you better hope that he don't call it, baby. You better run and sprint before he get to that digits. But either way, you could
800 leave me alone is
800, leave
diabolical.
me alone. You might have to make it a little bit more believable
Diabolical.
if you're trying to survive through this. But on a serious note, some moments people do feel uncomfortable and pressured and unsafe. And so they do just go ahead and say what the other person wants them to hear just so they can get out of that situation. But there are very few instances. Well, let me reword this. There are many instances when that is not the case, and you had the ability to be straightforward and transparent with a person, and you just chose not to because you did not have the integrity to be honest with them, and you didn't have the courage to be honest with them. Because at the end of the day, that's what honesty comes down to. We talk about that whole thing about being a player and whatnot, but in all reality, a true player, quote unquote, is somebody who they can tell you exactly what it is, and you still want to be around them. You still want to be in their presence and their energy. If you are out here lying to people, you're not a player, you're just a liar. There's a difference. Okay, you're just a manipulator. And so, yeah, it's not that hard to be honest. It isn't that hard when you're a good person and when you're trying to be a good person.
Yeah, yeah. I gotta
But I
piggyback
digress.
off. I gotta piggyback off of that.
Oh
For
yeah,
just
piggyback
a
off of
second.
it. Piggyback.
Um, if a person tells you they're not interested, believe them.
Mm,
Believe them. Why are you? And I can only say this from what I have seen. I don't know if this is true on both sides of the field, but I have seen a lot of men ask women for their phone number and they flat out tell you no thank you. Like they're not even trying to fake the funk with you. No
mm-hmm.
thank you. And then you still want why?
Girl.
Why are you wasting your time with this lady who clearly don't want you? Didn't even give you the time of day to ask for what your name was. Can I have your phone number? No, thank you.
And that's an answer.
You ain't care about your name. And yet why can't we take no?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Why can't we take no? No
And
is a very, very much a complete sentence here.
yeah.
Fresh J in the building. Why can't we take no?
You mentioned something. I mean, you're on two really great points. The first side of it is why are we not able to just be transparent and tell people exactly what it is? Because if you're not being transparent and telling someone exactly what it is, you're playing unnecessary games, emotionally, mentally,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it might be. That's one side of it. However, when you are dealing with someone who is transparent with you, why can we not appreciate their transparency and take that as this is a genuine person who genuinely cares and respects me because they're willing to give me the truth and not a fairy tale? You know what
Right.
I mean? And a
Right.
direct truth. I'm not talking about beating around the bush. I'm not talking about talking in mystery and speaking in different tongues and languages or in similes and whatnot, baby. I'm talking about the straight truth. The straight truth. I like you. I don't like you anymore. I'm not interested. Boom. Next. As simple as that. And you don't even have to give an explanation why, or you can. Sometimes you might say, I don't feel comfortable talking about it, or I don't want to, and that's okay. But just the
Right.
straight truth. All of this, well, the wind blows, and the way the wind blows, it tells me that love is in the air. No. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? And what are we doing? What are we
What are we
doing
doing?
here? What are we doing here? So that's how I feel about the topic. So yes, I feel like you mentioned two highlighting points. First topic, be straightforward with people, be direct with people, give them a chance, because when you're not honest with somebody, you don't even give them a chance to accept you and love you for who you are, or to give you that transparency back so that you guys can grow together, whether that's individually or whether that's apart. But either way, when we're both transparent, we both have an opportunity to grow together. So you don't give them a chance when you're not honest about what your intentions are. Sometimes people don't know what their intentions are. And that's when you need to say that. Don't say, oh, yeah, I'm open to this. I'm open to it. I'm willing to explore. when in reality, you don't know what you want and you don't know what you're willing to explore. And you just got out of a hurtful relationship where you're going through some mental trauma and you're feeling depressed or whatever it is. Be honest. We don't like to be honest because we're scared we're going to scare somebody away. But it's better that you're honest with them and transparent versus not being honest with them and then down the line them leaving anyways because you were not who you said you were.
Right.
So let's just be honest. Let's not play these games. Let's not do this rigmarole, as they call it. And that was two rigmarole. That was two really great tips, MJ. I do have some myself. So here we go. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
You ready? So I said, don't let your trauma control your ability to have the love of your life.
Mm.
And I say this because I have seen where I had to step back from individuals that could have had everything that they wanted, everything that they claimed they wanted, everything that they were trying to get. But that trauma was in the way of us building a genuine relationship built off of something real, transparency, loyalty, honesty, directness. These are the things that you need. These are the foundations of a great and strong relationship. So in order for you to get there, you have to be real with yourself. And when you are allowing your trauma to control you because you are not acknowledging that it's there and working through it, you're not being real with yourself. And so we have a lot of people out here who are allowing their trauma to control their love life. If you had, let me tell you, I had someone that I was talking to and we had such a great chemistry, right? I would talk to this person and they would check in on me. We would laugh all the time. I just felt like so happy. And, I felt like, wow, this was actually really refreshing. Well, I'm assuming that this individual had people play games with them in the past. But one day I told this individual that I had stopped talking for a while. I hadn't followed up. And normally I try to do the best I can. I'm not really a phone person anyways. And everyone who knows me know that because I try to put it out there immediately. I'm just not a phone person. Meet me in person. Call me when I'm free. And if I'm not free, let's figure something out. But just know that I'm not going to be on that phone all day. And I can be honest about that.
Right.
So at the time I had been checking in and stuff, but I completely fell off the map, not just with this individual, but with many individuals. And it was because at the time, my mother was going through some health issues and she was placed in the emergency room. And on top of her being placed in the emergency room, I myself had to go to the emergency room shortly after or right before, one of the two. I can't remember, but we're in the emergency room. So not only am I stressed out about my mother, someone that I genuinely care about, I want to make sure she's doing well, but I'm also stressed out internally and scared because when I went to the emergency room, it was because I wasn't feeling on my right side of my body. And you know what symptoms that can be from? That can be symptoms of a stroke. And even though I'm young, you can still have strokes early. It doesn't, you can't always know everything. You're not a doctor. So you need to go to the emergency room sometimes, or you need to go to a professional. And at the time, the reason why I was so worried about it and kind of stuck in worry was because my grandmother had a stroke and my grandmother was unable to use a side of her body. And so the only thing that kept running through my head during this process was, have you ran yourself down so much to the point where your body is not going to function the same anymore? And have I lost feeling? Am I there? And when you're in that moment and you're feeling that, it's like a level of uncomfortable, blazing accountability, heat on your back, because there's nothing that you can do except for go to the emergency room. And if that's where you're at, then the doctor's going to tell you that's where you're at. And now all we can do is work towards reversing the damage, but the damage has been done. So I was already tired, overworking, going through some things with family and stuff, and then health. So it was an emotional time for me. I did fall off the map, and I called and reached back out. And as I was explaining what was going on and how things were happening, what came out of this man's mouth, I keep it cute, is he said, it's kind of convenient how, as soon as we stopped talking, you kind of, or as soon as, we met up or we had our date, you kind of fell off the map. Now, keep in mind, there were already instances with this person where I could see a little tiny glimpse of, in my opinion, trauma or insecurity because you have been hurt, or maybe someone played games with you. I'm not sure, but I could see a glimpse of something, but I wasn't sure what it was. So I tried not to be a doctor and diagnose it or diagnose anything until I've made enough observations to say that, hey, this could probably be that. So in the process of us working through that, I was very honest and gave feedback about how I felt about some of those things. Did he agree with that feedback? Not necessarily. Did we have moments where we bumped heads a little bit? Yes. But the fact that I'm still here talking to you means that clearly I'm open to exploring something with you and potentially having a relationship. So
Mm.
for me to call you after I just got done leaving, being out of the hospital with a stent on my arm and telling you that my mother was in the hospital, and you knowing how important family is to me, you didn't say, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so sorry to hear that. Are you okay? How are you doing? Is there anything I can do to support you? I haven't heard from you in a while. Where's your head at? None of that. It was just straight into, it's kind of convenient how you just automatically fell off the face of the earth once we did it.
There's so much that I could say to that right there.
Go ahead. By all means. Look, let's have a good night. Go ahead.
Who got time for your crusty rusty?
Dusty musty.
Crusty rusty, dusty rusty. Dusty Rusty. Your new nickname is Dusty Rusty, boo. Because who got time? I told you that probably one of the most important people in my life is suffering through a medical emergency situation, whatever it was at that time.
Yeah.
I also told you that I'm suffering through a medical emergency at that time. And out of everything that you can say, convenient is the word. Convenient.
Thank you.
Convenient. The only word that out of all of those words that you used, my mom's had an emergency. I've had an emergency. I acknowledge that I fell off the map. It's kind of convenient.
Just distasteful.
What?
Distasteful. And then you have to keep
Dusty Rusty, sit down somewhere.
Dusty Rusty. And listen.
That's it. Dusty Rusty, sit down somewhere.
Listen, you have to keep in mind that a relationship, when you're trying to build a relationship with a person, whether you're dating them or it's long term, your goal is to create a safe space for them and a safe space for you. So that when you guys do have disagreements, you can come together and talk about your disagreements without attacking each other and bringing each other down, but also being honest and holding each other accountable. So it's okay if you want to say, hey, you fell off the mat. I know you're going through a lot right now, but try to keep me in the loop or something along those lines. Even then, as I'm saying, I got to be transparent with y'all. As I'm saying that out loud, that's probably something I would never say to a person. I would just genuinely tell a person, hey, call me when you need me. I will check in when I can. And I want you to know I'm in your corner. Because at the end of the day, nobody is truly entitled to your time or your energy or your explanations or your life or any of that. Now, you may have friends and loved ones that you want to communicate with, but nobody is entitled to your time. And a lot of times people make it about them. This isn't a moment about you. This is something that I'm going through and you're making it about you. You know what I mean? I'm dealing with my life and you're making it, oh, well, you ain't called me. How are you doing today? How is your family? How is your health? Is there anything I can do for you? Here's some flowers. I hope you feel better. Let me take you to the park. There's just no sense of like attraction to that kind of a response. It's just so distasteful to a point where you make a person almost not even really want to talk to you or be in your presence. And in that moment, I did want to send him where the sun don't shine. I did, but I didn't. I just simply was calm, collected, and I just continued to let him talk. And then after that, I never reached out again. And then after that, I stopped texting and messaging on social media or whatever you want to call it. And then after that, I unfollowed him because I really just don't want to be associated with you in any kind of light. Because that experience to me is just such a turn off to me. Like, even as a friend, it's a turn off to me. I just told you that someone was in the hospital. So if you want to have a more enriching relationship, try not to make every single moment that someone is going through something about you to the extent to where you are making assumptions before you know the actual truth. Ask the questions. Because if you would have asked me, hey, are you avoiding me because you just don't want to talk to me or you don't want to see me? Do you like me? I could have given you a genuine answer. And the answer was, I really didn't know yet. I felt like there were some things I did like about you, but then there was some stuff that I wasn't sure about, and I wanted to give it time and let us continue to talk to each other organically, not me feeling like I'm clocking in and punching a clock to do that. Organic, getting to know you to decide if this is where we want to go. It doesn't
Mm,
take me. It doesn't always take me a very long time with people to know if I'm interested on that level. If I'm sitting in front of you, you better know I'm interested on some level. Because one thing I ain't about to do is be wasting my own time. So if I'm here, clearly I'm exploring something for a reason. If I call you, clearly I'm calling you because I want to speak to you or there's something. So don't let's use the math, do the math here. But at the same time, I'm not going to, jump into making statements when I'm really not sure how I feel about something, because I do try to practice what I talked about earlier, which is being direct with people and not playing games. So let me sit in how I feel and then let me come to you and tell you exactly what that is. But
mhm.
to jump to the conclusion and answer the question for me, it does you a disservice because you're never going to know the real answer, because I'm at a stage in my life now where I just let people think what they're thinking. So if I haven't talked to you in a couple of days and you say, oh, yeah, because you don't like me like that no more, I'm just going to let you think it and keep on moving my life, because the energy that it takes.
Sure.
Yeah, the
Just
energy that it
sure.
takes for me to have to convince you is like exhausting. We all have our own battles, our own things on our shoulder, our own weight. There's a lot of responsibility that I have in just one day that I have to take care of. I do not have time to be sitting here telling you stuff that you're fishing for instead of you directly telling me exactly what it is. I feel like it's a sense of emotional manipulation when you have to say certain things because you are wanting a certain response from someone. Just directly say what you need from a person instead of trying to play, that little back and forth insecurity fishing for compliments game or fishing for truth game. You don't have to fish for anything with me. Just ask me directly, and I'm either going to tell you what it is or I'm going to tell you it's none of your business. And then you take that and do what you want with it. But either way, you will get, you're going to get exactly what you're asking for. So there's no need to do that whole fishing for all of that, because you're going to get some clarity. That's for sure. So yeah, that is one thing. Do not let your trauma control your ability to have the love of your life. Work on
Mm,
yourself. And even if you don't want to go to therapy because you're uncomfortable with it at this moment, I recommend to everyone taking at least one professional counseling or therapy certification. Because in the process of taking this course, you are going to learn what a therapist would be saying to you or what a counselor would be saying to you. And from that point, you ask yourself those questions. And I did that with myself years ago. And it wasn't even for me, it was for my clients, because I kept signing people up for skincare consultations and skincare subscriptions. But then they kept sharing things with me about their personal life that I felt like I really don't want to speak from a biased place without some level of mediation training, to make sure that I'm not just projecting my thoughts onto them. So
yeah.
I decided to take the professional counseling certification and do that. So I did that for my clients. And then in the process of me doing it for my clients, I ended up practicing on myself. And doing that, I learned things about myself that I didn't realize. That was when I actually realized that, hey, I do um I do withhold asking people for help or support. I do figure it out on my own, because I don't want to feel like an obligation. And part of that is my own personal issues or trauma that I've been through that I had to work through on my own, because I grew up with a single mother and I saw how hard she worked to take care of things, and I felt like all I want to do is help alleviate some of that, because she did everything on her own with very little support. And even with very little support, was still a pillar to her community, helping her siblings out, helping her family out. So that's a huge responsibility on your shoulders. And so to see her doing that made me feel like this is what, that was my example. I need to be strong. I need to make this happen. There's no other, there is no maybe I'll do it. It just has to get done. There's no option. And
Mhm.
that's kind of the mindset I had. But on top of that mindset, I grew up without a father in my home. And so dealing with that made me feel like I don't want to be an obligation. Don't worry about it. I won't ask. That's kind of where some of those thought process came from. And doing this professional certification allowed me to realize that. So I recommend to anyone who is kind of a little skeptical about therapy or skeptical about counseling, maybe you don't feel comfortable, maybe you don't feel safe, go get you a certification and take the certification and then practice it on yourself, because it may not give you everything that you need. You may still need a professional, even if it's not a um, traditional professional, but it may give you a sense or a glimpse of areas in your life that you can release so that you can feel happier, and that you can understand when you're feeling an emotion, it may not necessarily be because of people around you. It may strictly be because of what's going on inside of you. So that's what I would recommend to a person as a solution. Now, the next thing is that I have a tip is never leave a conversation angry. Um, as I'm saying this out loud, I'm having flashbacks of all the conversations that I've left angry. But this,
You know,
listen, it took a lot of growth. It took a lot of working on myself and understanding effective communication versus um, communication. And so, the biggest lesson that I took from this is no day is promised and no person in your life is promised. And that day that you decide to leave that argument angry, I'm not saying that you have to agree with them. I'm not saying that you have to enable them. And I'm definitely not saying you have to go back to them. But when you leave a conversation angry on your end, you are now stuck with the thought process. If something ever happened to that person, that is the last thing you said to them. Now, if they said something to you, that's out of your control. So you can't really, well, you can, but it's pointless to reflect on how a person said something to you. That's out of your control. But the way to live a happy life is to make sure that you're saying and doing what you truly feel. And if you know that you truly love and care about a person, even through a disagreement, make sure you love on them. And one thing that I noticed about myself that I wanted when I was in a relationship years ago was when we're having a disagreement, don't be so aggressive. Because for me, how I was brought up, how I was raised, and what I've seen, aggression means it's not going to a healing place. We're going to the opposite. And so whether that's physically, whether that's emotionally, it's going to be some combativeness, and it's about to be a battlefield, and I'm about to be on attack mode because you're coming at me on attack mode. So let's have a conversation where we're not so aggressive. We don't have to raise our voice. We can be calm. We might have moments of frustration, and that's okay. We can express those moments of frustration, but let's not lead with anger. Let's lead with truth and with the mindset that we are in this together and we're working through the solution together. Because sometimes people come to an argument like they are just ready to blast somebody. And I can't see anything positive coming from that. But then other times people come to an argument with the mindset that if someone brings something up, that means that they're trying to attack you. When in reality, they might be trying to help you and support your development as a person. So just keeping an open mind about what a conversation could be, and never leaving any conversation angry, because no day is promised. So try your best. I know we're human, and I know things happen. And because I told you, I've had many relationships or friendships or, dealings where I definitely did. Did I blast them? I did blast them all the way out of the universe. But in this new life of mine that I'm choosing to live, I'm choosing productivity, proactivity, peace, and healing. So what that looks like is what you've done is not acceptable. How you treated me is not okay. This is what I don't like, and this is what I will not tolerate. Whatever the case may be, and let that be what it is. And if you take the initiative to work on that, then great, we can work together. And if you don't, you don't. But at least I express myself, because what I see is one of the two. Either someone who does not trust themselves enough to communicate, so they just hold it all in and then blast you towards the end. And I kind of feel like, no, I wasn't that person, but we'll get to that later. But that person, and then we have the other person where it's like, they're going to say everything at 1,000%. It doesn't matter how you feel. Doesn't matter what the situation is. They're not trying to be effective. They're just trying to get it all out every single time. So find that balance where you are able to communicate with somebody how you are feeling, but you are also trust yourself enough that if you guys have a disagreement, you're not going to be hurtful, or you're not going to be mean. There's a way to hold people accountable verbally. And sometimes people need to hear those words because they're used to living a life where everybody just lets them get by. So because of that, they think that this is normal, even when you're telling them a little bit that it's not normal. The accountability needs to be there. Let me not say needs to be there, but it's okay for it to be there, because I've heard sometimes where people will say, don't say anything, that nothing is enough. In many situations, yes, nothing is enough. But in some situations, that person needs to hear those words because it's a cop out for them when you do not communicate. It's a, oh, well, I don't know what happened. No, you know what happened. So if you say you don't know what happened with me, you be lying. Because before you were, unless you did something crazy and I just had to, but before you were getting to that point, I had already communicated how I felt about certain things. So if we got to a place now where we're not speaking, it's because I've already communicated to you and you made your decision on how you were going to move. And I accepted that and I moved on. So
Mm-hmm.
that's my relationships. Now, I can't speak for everybody else, but I will say that it's okay to hold people verbally accountable because you put them in a place where they realize there's no way around accountability when they're dealing with you. So, and you don't have to keep doing it every time. That's not, it's not every time we talk, don't have to be the same conversation. I had someone who kept saying, let me just take you out. I just want to take you out. Let me take you out. I'm sorry. Those words don't mean anything to me. I need real action to show me that you're sorry. And that's just not it. I'm sorry. So what did I say to him? Exactly that. And did he keep asking? Yeah. And he still didn't get to take me out. But at the end of the day, it's the communication. I expressed why it wasn't enough for me and why I wasn't accepting it. And I don't know if I shared exactly what I would need for things to be better. But I did express why I wasn't going to be doing it. And at that point, I just gotta, well, just let me know if you're free, if you're ever free. No, but at least you had the communication and you don't have to worry about what's she thinking or why does she block me or why am I no longer speaking to this person. Hold people accountable if you want to hold them accountable. Don't listen to what other people say. Sometimes they try to make you feel like you should just be silent, and that's not a healthy way to live your life. Now, in some situations, you do have to move on because people are toxic and there's no positive solution coming from the communication. But in many cases, you can hold people accountable in a healthy way and express yourself as you deserve to, because those words might be the words that make them click for you or for the next person. Who cares? At the end of the day, it was said, it was clear, and there is no gray area about why this is not going to go into effect.
Mm-hmm.
But practice discernment. You know when those moments are, and you know when it's a moment that you need to just sit back and not say anything. Sometimes it's a little of both. Sometimes you say exactly what you need to and hold a person accountable, and then you just step back and watch and let them show you what they're about through their actions. And then there's no other conversation needed. And that's where I'm at in my life when it comes to romance. Did you have any other romance tips you wanted to share?
Yes. Once we get past the stage of, talking to somebody, learning about them, and you
Mm,
start learning, like really learning about them, like you find that there are traits that you don't like about a person, don't
mm,
settle for it.
mm.
If you know that there are traits in this person that you do not like, do not agree with, move on. Move on. Now, does that always look easy? No,
No, it
it's not going
doesn't.
to be easy. However, you'll feel better because if you see the person that you was before you started dating this guy, this girl, because women can be toxic too.
Oh yeah, everybody.
Women can be toxic too. Before you started dating this guy, this woman, this man, this woman, you saw how you was before them. Now you see a different version of yourself that you don't like, and you have pinpointed that this person is the direct cause and root of all of this that's going on. Move on. It might be a process. It might take you some time. You might have gotten in real good. You might have gotten in
She got like real good.
real good. You got some bills in your name at his house, or
Ooh.
some bills in his name at your house. He done left some clothes over there. And don't I'm gonna come back to this one, but I'm gonna put a pin in it. Don't be letting these men sneak into your house, and don't be sneaking into theirs. I'm gonna come back to that in a second. Um, but if you see that there's a change in the person that you was and the person that you are currently, and you know it's them, you have to transition yourself out of that situation, because if you don't, it becomes worse and you become more dependent, and then it becomes worse,
Yeah.
and then you stay dependent, and then this person has taken you away from family, friends, and everybody who loves and cares and cherishes you, and then you're isolated, and then what?
Oh Lord, you are speaking a word, because man, the relationships that I've seen where a person, it's very clear. I've had friendships where I saw and still do see the beauty and the intelligence in my friend, and how amazing they are and how confident they are and how strong they are, men and women. And they will be in a relationship with somebody simply out of, in my opinion, comfort. And every time something good is happening for them, for some reason, there's always a downfall in the relationship.
Mm.
And it starts with the partner. And it's so clear to me from the outside perspective, looking in, that you are dealing with somebody who internally is jealous of you or internally has issues, and it's going to affect your success. But I also don't want to be the person to alienate. So if you are going to stay there, just know that when you're ready to leave, I'm here to support you through that process. But man, the relationships that you lose when you are dealing with somebody who is changing you, or that you are changing because you stayed with them, it's crazy. And there are good relationships with good friends who really care about you, and they're going to try their hardest to hold on and stay there. But sometimes we don't see how we might be not watering a part of our life because we're putting everything into another
Hmm.
plant that doesn't want to be watered. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So that last part really like resonated with me. And then another thing too, it is never ever in your life too late for you to get up and decide that you want something better for yourself. Never.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
I think that because of society, we have put negative connotations on people getting a divorce or people separating. But the reality is that you're supposed to be in a partnership. And if it's not a partnership anymore, where two people are working together to be together because y'all love each other and you enjoy each other and you want to see the best for each other, then it's time to just let that go. And one person might be willing to hang on to it and not really want to work, but that doesn't mean you have to be that person too. Because hanging on to something without the intention of wanting to work is the same thing as giving up on something. You just chose the
Hmm.
easier route. You're choosing what's more comfortable. So
Yeah.
if you are someone who wants to leave or wants to be in a better place, mind space, to have a better partnership, it is never too late to have a better partnership. I don't care if you are a mother. I don't care if you're a father. I don't care if you're an aunt. I don't care if you're an uncle. If you are not in a happy space with your relationship, and you have tried to work through it, and it is not a situation where you are the root issue, there is nothing wrong with deciding that this is just not for me and I'm ready to go. And even if you are the root issue and you need to heal on your own, there's nothing wrong with deciding that you need to heal on your own. Do what your heart is telling you need to do. Just be prepared that every choice you make, there's going to be a consequence. Leaving that relationship is the consequence of you being uncomfortable and stepping out into a different world as a single woman or man. Staying in that relationship is going to be the consequence of you suffocating yourself day by day in a place where you're not truly happy, where you don't truly see your peace. And yes, we need to find peace within ourselves. I'm not saying a person should be responsible for being your entire peace, but they definitely shouldn't be responsible for being your disruption.
Right.
So the consequence of staying with your disruption is a stressed out life and a shorter lifespan. So I definitely agree with you on that part, MJ. Um, what other tips or insight would you say you have for people to have a long term, I would say a more enriching relationship, boyfriend and girlfriend?
I'm gonna go back to where I put that pin in where I said don't let them just sneak in on you. People, they do things to get you comfortable. So that way you think that, you can't exist without them. You can't do this without them. You can't do that
Mm.
without them. I'm snitching on somebody here because somebody got some clothes over at their boo house, and they ain't got no type of thought of I'm going to actually make this person my life partner. I'm just going to use them for what I can get out of them in this season. I'm
Mm.
snitching on you. I very much am. If you got clothes at that person's house, whether you male or female, and you know you don't intend on actually staying with them, but you like what they do for you, stop it. Men, you get your clothes over at your girlfriend's house. You start doing the little things that really don't require that much effort, like maybe taking out the trash, wash the dish or two, so that way she start feeling comfortable with you being around. Stop it, ladies. You bring your what is it? Your overnight bag, your spend a night bag. That's what it is. Your spend a night bag, and then you start leaving little things over at his house. You start cleaning up at his house, making him think that, oh, maybe having a good woman around is something that I need. But neither one of y'all plan on staying. Take your spend the night bag home. That's for everybody. Take your spend the night bag home. And everything in your spend the night bag. Take that whole bag. Don't forget your toothbrush. Don't forget your toothpaste. Don't forget your washcloth. Don't forget your soap.
Girl, you cannot. Okay, hold on. No, I mean, you
to
got
the house.
Truth. You talking? You got some real truth when it comes to this conversation. Because at the end of the day, if you are not serious and you are not truly committed, being in any space, it kind of goes back to what you said in the beginning. Be transparent. So we're sitting here playing these games as if, we're wanting to make people comfortable. We want to make people feel like we like them and stuff. The reality is that if that's not truly what our intention is, you're going to get tired eventually, and it's going to become a nuisance. Because you go from putting on this show, putting on this act, doing what quote unquote feels good, to realizing that, dang, this isn't really what I wanted. And now I have to be honest about what I really wanted. And it's going to be an uncomfortable conversation. So why even waste the time? This is what I will also say. And I think that this is a great tip for having more enriching relationships. Understand the value of your word. I'm not talking about your promise. I'm talking about anything that comes out of your mouth. Because sometimes when we say, I give you my word, that means like, I'm promising to do this one specific thing. Understand the value of your words. And so if you are a person that says things, and the value of your actions and does things that you are not intending on following through with, and you are not truly serious about, you decrease your own value when it comes to people actually listening to you and understanding you and trusting you and building valuable relationships. Not your value or worth as a human, but the value that you're bringing as far as transparency, being direct. Where are we going with this? What are you wanting? What am I wanting? You decrease that. And when you decrease that, you're going to keep finding yourself with people who are also on that same path of lying. You know what I mean? So understand your value. And there are some people out there, like I said in our other podcast too, sometimes you're just going to attract people that are not great quality because everybody wants something good, whether they're good quality or not. Everybody wants something nice, whether they've worked for it or not. So I'm not going to shame anybody for attracting a person that's scraggly, because you're going to attract great people and then you're going to attract scraggly souls. Okay?
Scraggly souls.
And in that process, you cannot blame yourself for attracting scraggly souls. However, it is important that you make sure your words and your actions align. So during the process of dating this person, if you start feeling like, I'm not liking this or I'm not feeling this, communicate what it is that bothers you. Communicate what your concerns are. Express that. Make sure it aligns, your actions align with your words, and vice versa. Like if you just genuinely are not interested in this kind of a lifestyle, why pretend? It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time to you. It's a waste of time to the other person, but it's a huge reflection on how you value yourself. Because if you value your time, like the way a person who is serious about their time does, that whole game of, oh, I want this, bring your clothes, do this. You're not going to play that at all. So we really have to get to a place where we're just valuing our own time enough to be clear about what it is we want and where we're trying to go with something, and make sure your actions align with that too. So that's my piggyback off of that. Because I definitely thought about that. I'm like, why would you do that? And you ruin friendships.
Right. Agreed. And no matter what generation you are in, because old people do the same thing. Young people definitely do the same thing. Now, whether you call your bag your spend a night bag, your booty bag, or whatever you call it, take your bag home. Take your bag home. Because when you get comfortable in a situation, that's kind of how it starts. Not
Mm-hmm.
not in all situations, because sometimes when you have your spend a night bag, you've actually developed something where you want to be with that person. You want to be around that person. You want to spend more time with that person. And we're not saying, don't be in those type of situations. We want those. We're
Yeah.
grateful for those. But for those situations where oh, she trying to move in, but I ain't really trying to. And yes, I said and I ain't. Yes, I'm an English professor. Yes, I said I ain't, and I ain't trying to do that. You know the difference. You know the difference. You can tell, and it's a difference when somebody offers you, that one drawer in their house. They clean out a drawer for you. It's another thing when you try to force that drawer.
Mm-hmm. And
They
it's
might
another
clean.
thing when you offer it, but you don't really want to give it. Stop
Right.
playing games with people.
No, if somebody genuinely says, "Hey, you can leave your stuff in this top drawer up here, or you can leave your stuff in this middle drawer up here," that's them inviting you to bring stuff over. They want you to be comfortable. They want you to have, some of the comforts of home at this person's house. But if you didn't get that invitation for that drawer, take your spend a night bag home.
Or even better, don't spend the night. How about that? How about if you want me to feel welcome and comfortable here, make sure that you're doing things to make me feel welcome and comfortable here. Because if I don't feel comfortable, then we're just gonna have to cut this little show down. How about that?
Hmm. Like, yeah,
Because
just,
I think people they put too much meaning on that spend the night bag. They put too much value on it. And the reality, no, seriously, MJ, they do. Because the
they do,
reality,
they
they
do.
say, oh, you got to take your stuff with you. You got to go. No, you're traumatized and you need to get some help. Or you need to know exactly what you want and directly express that. But when a person comes to your home, whether they are someone that's you're in a relationship or you're not, and they spend the night or they're spending time there and they want to have a section because they're frequently coming, it makes sense for them to have a section. If you're feeling like I don't want you to be frequently here, then maybe you just should stop. Because me picking up my whole closet and having to bring my whole closet to come see you when you know I'm going to be seeing you every single week, it's kind of stupid at this point. Get some help, get some therapy. That's where that's where my head goes with it. I'm sorry. Get
It's the
some
way that you're
therapy.
saying it for me. You're right though. You're
or
right. Get
just
some
or
help. Get
just
some
be
therapy.
transparent. Be transparent and say, I'm not comfortable with this, but I am comfortable with that. And say it straightforward. Don't play games. Don't do these little quotes. If I was the wind and you were rolling, don't do none of that. Just say exactly what you feel and give that person the choice to say, I subscribe to this or I don't subscribe to this. But all of these games in between, like, I think that's the issue here. So, guys, as you're hearing this message about the bag, like, I think she has some really great points. Stick with it, but also keep that same important factor that we talked about from the beginning. Because, sometimes people get lost on the labels. They're going to be talking about that bag forever. But the focus is the honesty, the transparency, the actions aligning with what you're actually wanting, the saying what you're actually wanting, the being about what you say you want. If you know that this is something that is temporary, let's not do temporary things. Let's not do long-term things. Let's not start planning out what our house is going to look like if you know goodness well you don't want no house. You know what I mean? Let's not talk about moving in with people if you know goodness well that you want to be alone.
Right.
But we just it's just like sometimes people do it in the spur of the moment and they're like, oh, in the moment I was just feeling it. Let's just practice holding it. Hold it for a good 24 to 168 hours. Okay, 1 day to 7 days. Hold that. And if you're still feeling those emotions, weigh out the pros and cons. Let's hold it even longer. Matter of fact, hold it even longer. And then once you finish holding it, then go to that person and express how you feel. Let them express how they feel. And then let's put together an action plan that we actually execute. Not one that we talk about and never come back to. Because I had somebody was telling me, oh, and I want to move you in and I can give you a little office space right here and you could do that and you could do that and you can finish your work right there. Not one action put towards it. And that is exactly why I stayed where the heck I was.
In
Because
my house, rub my feet together.
Yeah, because if you think I'm about to be changing my whole lifestyle off of no plan, no real execution, absolutely not. So let's be about what we say we're going to be about. Let's be okay when we don't want something and not shame ourselves or shun ourselves. And let's have the courage to give somebody the choice on if they want to stay and love you through that or with that, or if they would choose to go somewhere else, because it's
Mm.
totally fine. It doesn't change your value as a person if you decide you want something different and they're not willing to sit with that. You're still a great person. You're even greater for being honest with them and being direct with them from the beginning. From the beginning. Not 30 years later talking about the day when you open. No, we're way past this, Bob. You should have told
First of
her
all, 30 years later,
first date. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how many times people will hold stuff for a
I'm,
long time.
I'm
So,
not surprised, but
oh
30
yeah,
years?
yeah, you know that.
I'm not
So it's
surprised
just
with 30 years.
listen. At this point, you're
I
locked
can't say
in.
what I want to say.
We should already had this conversation on the first time that you felt this way. But again, it's that being scared to be honest because you're worried about how somebody's gonna feel. And I see this not just in relationships. I've seen it in business too, where a person withholds information because they are scared of how a person's gonna respond. It's better to just tell someone straightforward to give them an opportunity to decide if that's what they want versus
Yeah.
trying to surprise, later, because you're the only thing you can guarantee with a surprise is that that person is no longer going to look at you like someone who is solid, because it's unexpected. It wasn't something that you could have just communicated and been straightforward about. So that's my opinion on it, at least. Are there any more tips that you want to give to people that are in relationships, boyfriend and girlfriend, or in relationships, husband and wife?
Um, now I can't touch the husband and wife stuff because that's above my pay grade.
Can't touch.
Um, that's another level that I cannot. And I have friends that are married, and I'm the single friend. But I will always tell my married friends, don't listen to me. I am not. We are not in the same community. It's two different communities. The husband wife club and the boyfriend girlfriend club, two different communities. We'll never touch the married folk club, but the boyfriend girlfriends. I just really want everybody to be honest with one another. If we're being completely honest with one another, and no matter what you say, yes, it's gonna hurt, especially if it's not something that the person wants to hear. But
Mhm.
I would hope and want that person to be honest with me versus stringing me along. I also would want for everybody to open up their eyes. Some people get blinded by situations, and they see something but they don't say anything. I
Mhm.
want everybody to open their eyes, and I want everybody to really look at what their situation has bought them. It can be great and it can be bad, but when it is
Yeah.
great, keep it great. When it is not, move on. We are wasting time trying to make something work, and neither one of y'all have shown that y'all wanted to work.
Mm.
You know, um, that's very true. If you don't have trust, they never show up for you. It's time to go. You can't hold on to the lies. That's universal. That can be, boyfriend, girlfriend, 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 boyfriend, boyfriend. Don't matter what you decide. That is universal. Um, and please don't take what we're saying here just boyfriend, girlfriend. We are very much aware that there are a lot of different relationships that go on. And if it flies, if it applies, use it. If it don't, let it fly. Okay.
Discernment.
I do wanna just preface this by saying that if you catch this on a replay and you feel some type of way about what's said, I really want you to listen to what is being said deep, not at face value. Because I think some people get in their feelings about stuff and it don't apply to you. We
Yeah.
get it. It might not apply to you. That is great. That is phenomenal. That is awesome. Keep it pushing.
That laugh was so ugly. I'm so sorry. I was
Keep it
laughing.
pushing. If it don't apply to you, keep it pushing. Keep it
Ooh.
moving. It's okay. We'll see you on the next one when it actually might relate to you.
Yeah, very true. I mean, because every message is not for everyone. This is for that person out there who is either going through it and needs a little bit of hope that there are better ways to do things, or maybe just needs to hear a different opinion, a different perspective. Sometimes we don't think about stuff until we hear it in a different light or from a different
Mm-hmm.
person. So, that's who this message is for. It's for people that are, whether you're single, trying to be in a relationship, whether you're in a relationship, or whether you're married. And I personally feel like we can learn things from each other. If you are a married couple, there are still things that you can learn from boyfriend and girlfriend couples. If you are a boyfriend and girlfriend couple, there are still things you can learn from a married couple, because at the end of the day, sometimes we don't realize things that we can work on until we see it on somebody else. So it's
Right.
not to say that you need to be like the next person or everything that they say. Like you said, practice that discernment. But sometimes when you get into relationships for a very long time, you forget to have that spark. You forget to have
Mm-hmm.
that sexiness and that fun. And so having a relationship with a boyfriend and girlfriend where you get to see some of that young spunk, depending on how long they've been together, is a great way to do that. And vice versa. There's things that we can learn from each other. At the end of the day, it's about how can we have a more enriching experience when we are dating and when we are in relationships. And the first way that I want to go back to what MJ said, transparency. If you are not serious about something, don't act like you are. If you are
Right.
not sure about something, don't go through the motions. And if you are really not happy with something, express that, communicate that, try to work through it, but know that you don't have to stay there just because of that. Um, Another thing, don't let your trauma control your ability to have the love of your life. If you are going through things, get therapy or work through that so that you are able to differentiate when this is a me problem and a us problem. Because there have been many times where I've sat down with a person and I had to say, this is a you problem. This is not an us problem. That's something that only you can find the comfort or the answer that you're looking for within yourself, because this is about you internally. And I've had to do that with myself. I've had to say, before I open my mouth to say this, I got to acknowledge that this right here is a me problem and it's not an us problem. So we have to be able to do those things if we want to have better relationships. Um, Never leave a conversation angry. Learn how to argue softer. Learn how to disagree with love. So even if you don't agree with it, even if you know you're not ending on a good note, still hold your partner, still love on your partner, because that could be the last time you see your partner. When they're walking out, that could be the last time you see them. And I really don't want to I don't want us to forget how we are not perfect. Nobody is perfect. And if you're working with someone who is trying to work with you and is trying to build with you and grow, don't take that for granted, because it's a good person in general. A relationship, a friendship, a business ship, whatever it is, don't take those relationships for granted. Treat everyone like it's the last time that you'll ever see them, and try to do that every time with every person. I know it can be hard because we got a lot on our minds and people don't see what you're going through behind the scenes. So you might be smiling in someone's face, but you might be thinking about a loss that you just experienced, or, stressed about something that's going on in your life. They can't see that, but try your hardest to be present in the moment with your partner and show them that you love them. And then one last thing, get off those damn phones. And I mean this with all animosity. If you don't get off your damn phone in a relationship with a person, boyfriend, girlfriend, all of it, because we have to get more present with each other as humans. How can you be sitting in the same room with a person staring at technology the entire time? How? You're missing something. You're missing something. And it's the bigger picture. That's what you're missing. A person sitting in front of you who's alive and breathing, here for you, there for you. I'm not saying y'all can't have your separate moments. I'm not saying you can't have moments when y'all get on social media together. But there's going to be moments when you need to put your phone down and be present. Put your phone down when you're at the dinner table. Put your electronic down when you're having a deep conversation. Put your phone down when you are outside of the park just enjoying each other's presence. Be a part of the communication. Be present with each other. We got to do better about that. So, did you want to add any last thing before we hop off, MJ?
Yeah. That's the cell phone thing. That cell phone thing get folks in trouble. It get folks in
And they don't even
trouble.
be doing nothing. You're not even doing. You scrolling on Instagram. We could be
You
having
you
fun.
liking the next IG model's picture, and now I have also been told how you get them is how you keep them. If you found them cheating, I hope you don't think you special. How you get them is how you keep them. If they were cheating on their significant other when they got with you, You're gonna have to deal with that when you get with them.
Yeah.
And pray that they don't do it to you. Pray that you are that one different special person. Um, Typically that's not how that works. But how you get them is how you keep them. So you were worried about that man liking everybody's the IG models phone pictures every time he was on IG. You gonna have to keep dealing with that.
Yep.
If you are worried, men, this one goes to you. If you worried about that lady swiping and liking and all that on that man, on that IG man picture, you gonna have to keep dealing with that. You have to set those boundaries and don't be messy in everybody else's relationship. If that
Yep.
person is taken, leave them be.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You know how many times it's not that it's really not as hard as we make it out to be, as some people make it out to be. It is an easy and simple block or just ignoring.
You
But
know,
some people
technology.
here, they are wild,
Excuse me.
MJ. I had a
Technology has
married
gotten a
person.
lot better now.
I had a
Technology
no, let me let you
Technology
finish
has
it before
gotten
I
better to where, that is something that can be done. But back in, let's just say this is back 20 years ago, the technology wasn't as efficient as it is now.
the
Now
tech-
your celebrity crush just decides that they want to end it all with you, then yeah, jump on them. But that's not quite. But if that person is in a relationship, respect that person's relationship. If it is in the middle of the demise, let it be a demise naturally. And don't be the reason why. Because you gonna that same social media that you sitting there, they're gonna be talking about y'all on social media so bad. Oh, he was the reason she left her good husband with his $100,000 job.
and you want things to be organic. You don't want it to be a situation where they're talking to you because they're trying to get over another situation. This should be, I want to talk to you because I want to be with you, not I'm trying to look for a
Right.
rebound or leftovers, or I want to be your leftovers, or whatever you want to call it. But I do believe that we got to do better about that as well. Like let's just
Yes.
have, some people say it's not my problem if you're in a relationship. Now, if you didn't know, it's not your problem.
Yeah, that's
But
different.
once it is brought to your attention that this is someone who is married or in a relationship, it becomes way less about the other person and him. It becomes way more about the respect that you have for yourself. Because for this person to put you in a position or a predicament where you would be uncomfortable or possibly dealing with backlash, or somebody coming and trying to harm you or trying to put your name out there or place you in a certain predicament, that means that they really genuinely do not care about you. They don't care about you on that level. And I try to tell people this, but at the same time, you're not anybody's mom. So people are going to live their life. They're going to be grown. So make sure you be safe. But, at the end of the day, when a person puts you in that kind of a situation, they don't care about you. They don't. Because for you to be in a relationship with a person and invite me to your home on a different day, knowing that there's a chance that person could come back at the wrong time, and then
Mm.
now we're fighting, now we're throwing hands, or now I got to go get my car towed, or whatever the case might be, or my car's being keyed or scratched. You don't care about me enough to consider me on that level. Even if you do think you like me, you're not considering me. So when a person is not considering you, that right there is a key indicator they are not a safe person to be in a relationship with, physically, emotionally, intellectually. Right there, that not telling you, and then you find out later on, run.
That's some
Because
dangerous stuff right there.
yeah,
That
it's
is
a
some
blessing
dangerous stuff.
to find out early and you get up out of there. And even if you've been with them for a long time, but you find out, it's still a blessing. Get up out of there. Even if you are pregnant and getting ready to have children, get up out of there. How you do it might have to be based off what you feel is right. So practice that discernment, but you need to be able to get up and leave. So to have better enriching relationships, let go of the ones that are not serving you so you can get with the person who appreciates you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right.
I agree.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
Well, I feel like we had a really great conversation this evening. We do have to go ahead and wrap it up as I get ready to prepare for our upcoming event, Soft Girl Sunday, and our brunch that is happening tomorrow at 11 a.m. in Texas. So what I wanted to do was just briefly let everybody know Our next podcast show is going to be at 7 p.m. Central Time on Friday. You can join us again. We're going to have a completely different conversation. It's not necessarily going to be about relationships. I think this one is about business, but you can join us then to find out 100%. I can't wait to see you guys again. If you're watching the replay, please drop your comments on YouTube. We would love to hear what your thoughts are on this process, and share some words of encouragement or wisdom for anyone out there who's trying to have a more enriching relationship, whether it's a boyfriend and girlfriend, whether it's just dating and having fun, or whether it's a marriage. Thank you guys for watching the Boss Babe Blog podcast, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.